Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First, we'll start off by just adding a cube. And this is the default size. I'm gonna put this SY cutter. It's part of mine. It's just one of the materials that comes with the KO free mats, which comes with KIT OPS. But I'm not going to actually use KIT OPS, as we mentioned, for any of this. I'm just want to create kind of a locker. I can rescale it later when I want to get right to the exact measurements. But for now, I'm just going to set it up like so. What I'll do is I'm going to tab into it. Let's go to front view first, and then we'll tab into it, hit 3, and let's delete that first face, and then 2, and Alt Control is going to give me all of those edges. And with that, I'm going to go over to edge data, and I'm going to give that 1. So I'm going to weigh those down, and then I'm going to add a modifier, Bevel. And let's go ahead and let's give it something like that. So notice it's on the back, so we want to use the weight, so we don't have that back. So it's just using these edges. Now notice that the inside is red, and that's because I have this set up in here to show the face orientation, which means that the outside will be blue, the inside's red, but the outside's not blue, and that's because in my preferences, under themes, under 3D viewport, if I scroll down, you'll see face orientation front. Normally this would have an alpha, like something like this. See, it's blue. But right now I've got that turned off, and I save when I do that. So this means in my startup file, I can leave this face orientation on, save my startup file that way, and it'll always show me that I've got flip faces. So that's kind of cool there. And I can also, in my quick favorites, I set it up so I can turn this off if I want to as well. So you'll notice that these are not even. If you look at the front view here, they're not even, and that's because we have this scaled, right? So we have this scaled in the Z dimension at 1 point, at this number right here. If I made it 1, now they are going to be even. Let's just go ahead and set that way we want. We want that. We want these to be a little bit off in this particular design. Gives a little more dynamic. And now with this set, I'm just going to apply all. So I want to keep that, and then Control A, and I'm going to adjust the scale. And then I'm going to go back into this, Alt Control click again, select all those, Control E, and I'm going to just mark sharp them. And then I'll take the weight off. Actually, now I'm going to add another bevel, and I'm going to use the same settings, weight, and let's make the segments something like maybe 12. And I want to adjust these. Let's go ahead and look in this view. So I want to kind of adjust these so that they look a little better. So let's just go something maybe like that. And then I want to add a modifier, and I'm going to put a solidify on here. And I want the solidify to be going out, not in, because if you see we're going in, we're getting this little cross action going in here, which I don't want. So let's go ahead and make it go out, which is the direction, and we'll add something like this to that. Okay, we have solidify. Now, if you notice, when we zoom in the side view, you notice that we have a little bit of an angle going here, and that's because we don't have even thickness turned on. And once we do that, it changes the dynamics a little bit, and I can just, again, I want to make it so that there's just only a little bit. I want them to be tight, but not overlapping. And now we're good, and what we can do is hit Apply All. And once we've applied all, we can go into our edit menu, and we have this thing called Auto Mirror. And if you don't have it, it's an add-on that comes with Blender, so turn it on and save your preferences. And so what we're going to do is, if you notice, this is the X direction. So I'm going to say Auto Mirror X. And when I do that, it adds this mirror modifier. And when I turn it off, you see that it basically cut it in half. So now all we have to do is edit this, and whatever we do is going to show up on the other side. And I'm going to do the same with Z, right? So the Z is the up and down. And so if I auto mirror Z and turn this off, you see we've got both. And in fact, once I've done this, I can just delete this and do X, Z, turn on, we have them both. So you get the idea. If I tab into this now, we're only in this mode. This is what we're working on when we tab into it. So I can turn this little vertice on, shows all of them or not. I'll leave it like this. And as we talked about, I'm going to be in, hit the 5 key on the numpad, and that puts me in this orthographic projection mode. Front is here. I'm going to go ahead and hit the K button to create the knife tool. And then I'm going to create a little border on the front. So I'll just say K. A is going to make sure it's straight. C, make sure it cuts all the way through. So let's go ahead and start something like here and here, and then hit return. And you'll see that when that does that, you'll see that cut all the way through this, except it didn't cut through the top. Should have, but it didn't. So I can just say K and just grab you know, this, A, yeah, and then A, merge by distance. There's no vertices, so we got it. We nailed it perfect. So what I want to do next is I want to create kind of maybe a die-cast or a machined detail here, and let's talk about that. So I'm going to tab into this, and I'll go into here, and I'll hit 3, and I'll select just this face, and I'm going to go under face, and I'm going to hit this poke faces. What it does is it puts an X there, and I have a little vertex in the center, which I can select. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a circle here. So with that selected, I'm going to say Control-Shift-B for bevel vertices. And you can see it's going to expand it out. And then I'm going to roll my mouse wheel, and I'm going to set it up so that it's got probably eight vertices like this. So I'll do that. And so once I've got that done, I'll just drag it out to whatever size I want. And then with Loop Tools enabled, I'm going to right-click on this. It says Loop Tools, and say Circle, small circle. And then I want to hit 3 so that we're in face mode. And then I'll say Mesh, Cleanup, Limited Dissolve, right? So if I do that, it's going to actually fill that up. I'm going to do that. That's one way. Another way is just X, Limited Dissolve. And my Limited Dissolves, I usually want to set this at 1. So I'll be using it some more, so I'm going to just set it 1 now. And now I can take this and scale it however size I want. And I know we're dead on the center. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is let's go back to the knife tool, K-A. This time we're not going all the way through. This time we're not putting, C for cut all the way through. So I'm just going to, basically grab this and go and intersect here, there, and then hit return. Okay, next I'm going to take the knife tool again, K, and this time I'm going to create some more interesting cuts. Click here, click there, right click to drop it, and then we'll go over here and we'll kind of do the same over here, here, and then click, and then right click to drop it, and then hit the enter key, and we've got that. And then let's just, let's grab these and pull these out like this, right click, right click. So what I want to do is I am going to select these faces. I want to merge. So I'll do this and then Control X or X and dissolve faces. So either way works, right? So I'll go here, leave this alone, leave that alone. Let's go here, Control X. Once that's all done, what I'll do is I'll select all these faces. And what I want to do is I want to inset everything by just a little bit. So the goal here is that you don't want to get too fat with the actual borders here. So if I hit the I button, notice it all comes in something like this. So I'm going to bring it in about, something like there. Notice that's about 0.017. Let's just do that. 0.017. Okay, we hit that. Now I'm going to hit I twice. And now as you can see, if I hit it twice, I'm going to separate each one of these individually. And if I do this, I can go same 0.017. So it's basically the same. So now it has an even border around the edges and all around here. We want to actually bevel it. So I'm going to go into 1 button right here. And so we've actually selected all the vertices automatically for us. I don't want that one selected. I don't want that one selected. Those probably don't need to be beveled. And if I say Control-Shift-B and move it out, and let's make them 8 again, 8. Now watch as I drag it out. See these dark areas? That means we're getting crossover stuff. So I'm looking at to see what's crossover, and I can see right away it's around this circle. So I'm gonna hit Escape, and I'm gonna hit the C circle select, and I'm gonna hold the middle mouse button down, and I'm gonna deselect all of these. Okay, and then I right click to get out of it, and then Control-Shift-B again, and now where am I gonna go? Okay, so now I'm seeing that it's right up in this area right here that I'm having problems. And so I can go here, but that's not a very big radius. I really want a bigger radius than that. So as I look at these, I'm looking at where the areas are, and I can see that I have a black area at the top and black area at the bottom where they're coming. So I'm gonna escape that, and I'm gonna just deselect one of these. So like this and this, and now Control-Shift-B, and you'll see that, okay, now we have kind of a bigger radius, and we do kind of want a little bigger radius. And in fact, that actually works pretty good. The black is where we're going to have problems again. So let's just make sure that we're not going to get those problems with the black. And I think we're in pretty good shape. So I'm going to click here, and now I can look at all this. I'll hit the 3 button, and now I'm just going to go select each one of these. Let's leave these out. Let's grab this. So we're going to do Alt-Z, E. Let's move these all the way in like this. So now we have something like that. And then I'm going to grab these guys, and I just want to move them in just a little bit. They're just going to come in just a little bit. So we have 2 different areas, 2 different groups, right? And then I can grab this, and this, and I can say Control B, and I can bevel the bottoms of them also. So you can see right now we're having a little bit of a problem over on this side. So I don't want to get any of that crossover. So I'll just put the bevel in there like that. Control B, like that, and then these, same thing. Control B, just a little bevel, right, like that. So that's the bottom bevel. So if we look at this, that's kind of the surface that we ended up with, which is kind of a neat little vent detail. Happens pretty fast. I took my time here, but you get good with this, and you can get it so that it works out, pretty fast. So let's go ahead back here, and let's tab out of this, right click on it, and we're going to basically shade auto smooth. So here we have our locker, and if we tab into this, we're going to look and see that we've got a little bit of an edge problem here and here. And what's going on there? Well, it turns out we got a little too close on some of those bevels. So let's just go ahead and take a look at that. We're going to go into the 1 mode here, and I'll go into X-ray. And as I come in here, you'll see these things are just too close. So I'm going to grab these 2 and merge at the center. And that fixes that one. And let's go down here. And we have the same kind of thing here. Select this. Select these 2, merge at the center, and that gets those fixed. Now, the other thing we have is that we have all these little faces. Right? So I don't want a limited dissolve because I'm still going to be using this line right here for some other stuff. So I'm going to wait till the end, and I'll do a limited dissolve and clean all this up later. So let's go ahead. When I'm looking at this, one thing I like is I like to look at the silhouette, and I want to put a little chamfer on the edge here. So let's just do that. I'll just go into here too. Grab this, right click on it and say subdivide. So that's just going to put, a vertice right in the middle. Maybe I'll move it up a little bit. Grab the edge mode and then just bevel this, right? So I'm going to bevel this out, something maybe like this. And with that done, Control E, I'm going to basically mark these sharp because I know this angle right here could create some smoothing artifact problems. And I'll grab this right here. And I'm going to say inset. And when I go inset, look at the top and see that the individual's off. So that means it's going to come in like this. Fine. When I hit the B key, look at the bottom. So the bottom is really kind of neat the way that works. I'm just going to, that comes in here. And then if I extrude that, it's going to come in just a little bit like this. You can see that's undo. Let's do it this way. E, extrude. You can see it pops through. I don't want to go all the way through. I want to go something like right around there. That'll probably be good enough right there. So, and then if I tab out of this, you'll see that we've got kind of a nice thing, but it's maybe just a little too regular. So I'll grab this 3 and I'm going to move this down just a little bit like this. And then 2, this is the edge. And I'm going to, with these selected, Control E, and I'm mark sharp there already. I think they're marked sharp anyway, but I'm going to move this down. So I get a little bit of an angle on that also. And maybe that angle is going to be, kind of close to the same angle that we have here. Maybe we'll just mirror that, something close to that. And then tab out of this and see that's kind of our little detail, which is a nice little break of the silhouette right there. Okay, now let's do some edge detail, boundary edge detail, which is really important for something like this. And what I'm going to do is I'll just go in here, tab into our object one more time, and I'm going to use the K knife tool. Okay, let's just go ahead and we'll say A, and we're just going to add some detail here. Right click, and then let's just kind of right click, maybe try and get these. Right click, hit enter, and then we'll do it again. K. Now that all these cuts are made, let's go ahead and select these faces individually. And we're going to basically do the same kind of thing that we did before, where we create kind of this little vent rib detail. So I'll say I, and we'll, come in here like so, just a little bit, not too much. We want to kind of pretty thin in here. So I there, and then I again, and about the same amount. I'm just eyeballing this. And then we'll just do 1, and we can just say Control-Shift-B, and we'll scroll up. Maybe we'll use this at 4 segments since it's kind of tiny. And we'll make it something that's not crossing over. Kind of looking around to see if I have anything crossing over. Nope, looks good. And then 3, let's just select the faces that we want. And let's go E, extrude, and let's move them back in something. Maybe I'll move them in something like this. And with them set there, I'm gonna Control E and do a mark sharp, just a couple like that, something like that. Look and make sure it all looks good. Yeah, that all looks good. Almost like this, and Control Shift this, and then Shift this, and then Shift, and then Control Shift. So I've got all of these, and I want to extrude these out just a little bit, just something like maybe, that. And then I'm going to say X, and I'm going to do a limited dissolve of 1 degree right there. And then with them still selected, I'm going to say face. Actually, these two, I'm going to leave that one alone. These two face poke faces. And then 1, and let's just select these 2 right here. And Control-Shift-B. And that's going to be, I don't know, let's see, let's make it 4. That makes 16. And go into face mode and right click, loop tools, circle, and then Control X and these look pretty good, except this line doesn't look like it's quite working right. Let's go ahead and just select one face at a time and just move this G kind of to the center we want. Make sure they're all oriented correctly. They look pretty good right there. And this one, you can see this line crosses over. So I can just hit the R button and I can just rotate him so I make sure that he doesn't cross over. There we go. And then G, and we'll move them up in the center like that. And with both of these selected, I'm gonna just go E and push them back in. And just like that. So now that I have all this done, let's go ahead and A, and we'll do X limited dissolve, and let's make sure that we're at 1 degree. And that looks pretty good. Everything looks pretty good there. Okay, so this is what we have so far. So the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add some panel lines on here. The way I'm gonna do this is, let's go back in here and tab into our object. And I wanna go into like transparency mode so I can see what's going on. And I'm gonna say K with a knife to A for a line, C to cut all the way through, right about here. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna click on that, drag all the way down, hit return, and you can see that we've cut all the way through. Now the next one I want to do is I'm going to say K, and I'm going to grab this right here. I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to say A. So I'll go straight, and then because it's A, it's going to go down at a 45 or whatever angle. I think it's 45 or 60 or something like that. So I'm going to go down here and across, and I'll go up here, and then go across here, and then hit enter. And now let's look at this, and I want to take these and bevel these out a little bit. So let's take a look at them, and let's say Control-Shift-B, and we can just, something like this. Just give it a little tiny bevel there. Okay, and then we're going to go 2, and what I'm going to want to do is I want to select this line, and select this line, and this line. And I'm using Control-Shift to select, by the way. Control-Shift. So, and then I'll come over here. I don't have one on the back side. Maybe I should no, I'm gonna leave it like that. Here, this, oops. Okay. So now I've got these selected. So I want to get the rest of these. It's gonna be hard. I can hit G, but I've got these little curves in here. So I'm gonna hit the circle select. and just click like this, and this will give us what we want. And then I right click to exit out of that. Okay, now that I've got all of that selected in the way I want it, I'm going to say Control B, I'm beveling it. So like this, and I want to bevel it only one and just a little bit, something like this, just maybe like that. And then Alt E, extrude faces along normals. I'm going to move them in. And then now we should be pretty good. Let's turn off wireframe mode. Let's turn on here. We'll take a look at this so that you can see that worked out pretty good. So the last thing we're going to go is I need to fill out some of these surfaces in here, but I'm going to wait for that for the actually the next video. Let's just quickly light this so you can see what that might look like. While we're in the viewport shading, I'm going to turn scene lights and scene world, and I'm going to go into the world settings, and I'm going to turn it completely off so I have no world. Shift A, go in Gaffer, Shift A, and I'll say give me a light, and I'm going to have an area light, and I'll move it up, and I'm going to make it, let's give it 100, and I'll move him to here, and then Shift A, camera, and we'll set him like this, except I want the camera to be different aspect ratios, so let's make this 768, something like that, and move this around in here, something like that, and so when I do this sort of thing, what I like to do is go over here and just give me two views here and turn this into a 4 view like this. And now I have, I've got lights that I can move in any direction. So I can take this one, let's move him to the center a little bit, maybe make him 150, so a little brighter. Then I'll take in Shift D, Z, move one above, and let's make it go over here, G, like this, so you can kind of see some lighting going on there. As you can see, I can just rotate it around so I get a reflection coming back. Let's go ahead and go into KIT OPS and just do, these are some of the free materials, but let's just do a dark anodized to add material to that. So now we have a dark anodized thing in here, and if I want to, I can tab into this and just select these faces, this one, this one, this one, that one, that one, and that one, and that one. And see, just grab those, and those, and those, and those, and right click. And we'll go into material, and we're going to say, add a new material, assign that. Let's make that cutter material, and then we'll tab out of this. Go in here, let's go back into our view. There we go. So kind of see what's going on. Okay, this light is here. Let's put another light. Shift D, move him up above like something here, maybe back a little bit, or maybe put him. Maybe if we do a 3-point, we can stick him here. Yeah, he's not gonna. There we go. So you get the idea what's going on. I'm just moving lights around and evaluating the picture as I see it. There's this G, this one maybe 250 also, and maybe this is a little warmer light. This one inside here, that should be warmer. And this one outside, we're gonna make him cooler. Like that, and then we need one more, and that's a light that is like this one. Shift D, move it over here, and we need to point him this way, so we get a little bit of a. There we go, and if we hit F12, see what we got. So that's really kind of the model that we've been working on, and I think you can see that it's it looks pretty good, so. It's a nice detail. Some of these are nice details, and they're quick, and they're done in using mesh editing only. Now I can do the same thing in KIT OPS, as well. I've got some tools that allow me to do that, but this I thought would be a good, kind of a good tutorial because it shows a couple, little tips and tricks that you might find valuable. I hope you do. So anyway, stay tuned for the next video where we're going to go ahead and fill this space up inside with SPOCK, the structured Sci-Fi Packer add-on for Blender. Okay, see you online.